Top of the hour, let's begin with a major breaking update that is now coming in through sources. What we are now learning, that heads have begun to roll. Champat Rai and Anil Mishra reportedly have now submitted their resignation. This is now coming across as a big development, first playing out right here on Times Now. Champat Rai has now stepped down from his position, and this is now coming across as far as a big development as far as Ram Mandir Chanda Chori case is now concerned. Champat Rai, the founder there of the trustee that we are now looking of the Ram Mandir Teerth Kshetra Trust, and this is now coming at a time when there were already big questions that were being raised, especially when it comes to the analysis and the questions and the probe, the investigation that has now been taking place against at least 8 individuals who had direct access to the donation room. So what we are now looking at, one of the biggest developments, and this is first breaking right here on Times Now. This is coming at a time when Ram Mandir Chanda Chori controversy is now taking center stage, and of course currently, as Champat Rai was serving as the General Secretary of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Teerth Kshetra Trust, he is now tendered his resignation. Along with him, Dr. Anil Mishra, who is also an appointed member of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Teerth Kshetra Trust, he also has now stepped down from his position. This is a massive update that is now coming in the line. Of course, the heat that has been growing on topmost individuals who are part of the trust, to them to also step down and take accountability. This is coming across as the biggest development in the investigation. Of course, with the SIT completing the investigation, the report, the findings on the very basis of that FIR which has been registered, on the basis of the FIR, stringent charges that have now been invoked of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, and on the basis of the FIR, we're looking at 8 individuals who have now been placed under arrest. And this is the biggest development of all that has now taken place, viewers, when we speak of the biggest individual in this, because as far as Vishwa Hindu Parishad and also serving as the General Secretary of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Teerth Kshetra Trust, here is Mr. Champat Rai, who has now tendered his resignation. Along with him, Dr. Anil Mishra, who is an appointed member of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Teerth Kshetra Trust. He also has now stepped down from his position. So let's quickly connect with Pranesh. He's joining us live from Ayodhya along with Adib. Well, Pranesh, top of the hour, this is the breaking update and the biggest one, first being confirmed right here on Times Now. Heads have now begun to roll. Champat Rai has now tendered his resignation.
Well, Amita, I'm standing outside the temple premises. This is, if you can see the steel frame behind me, this is where the devotees start queuing. And the latest development is something which was always on the cards. In fact, this has come as too little too late, because these are 2 individuals who were associated with the trust. And at least on moral grounds, there was a chorus that they should have tendered their resignation. But look at the developments in the last 16, 17 hours or so. After the preliminary report by the SIT, the Uttar Pradesh police files an FIR based on the complaint given by another member of the trust. And soon after the FIR, 8 people were named as accused. All of those 8 people were involved in either, counting of the cash or transportation of the cash, and all of them were swiftly arrested. The UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has gone on record just a few moments ago to say that, look, we always promised that there will be a thorough probe and crackdown. The crackdown has begun. And now news coming in that Champat Rai and one more person associated with the trust, Dr. Mishra, they have resigned. Because, you see, as the custodians of the Ram Janmabhoomi Mandir Trust, it was only prudent on their part to have tendered their resignation, because morally their position became untenable because of the nature of what we've seen. Now, this is no ordinary money misappropriation, because, this is about the faith of the people. Countless people, and if my video journalist can just give you a sense of the kind of crowd that here is. I mean, we are coming to you live from the sweltering heat. It's about, I don't know, 38, 40 degrees. I can barely keep my eyes open. It's that hot. But people from across the country, some foreigners also, have come here to seek darshan of their Ram Lala, Lord Sri Ram. And the chatter, in fact, when we took a flight this morning from Delhi, the chatter in the flight was only this. People were saying that this is not right, and whoever is involved, you know, the high and mighty or whoever it is, a strict punishment or strict message has to go out so that this is never repeated. Anyone who plays or tinkers with the faith of the devotees has to be taught a lesson. Now, let's keep the politics aside for a moment. Let's just talk about the probe. I was just chatting with Adib, and he told me he was at the police station a while ago, and Adib told me that the 8 people who've been arrested have been kept at a nearby chowki, and in some time from now, in about say 45 minutes from now, they'll be produced in front of a magistrate, and let's see what happens from then.
Absolutely, because we are keeping an eye out on the developments and fast-paced developments, as Pranesh has mentioned, that has taken place ever since this FIR has been registered. Of course, this is coming after time. Ratan Sharda ji is also connected with us. Before we play out what the UP Chief Minister has said, "Doodh ka doodh aur pani ka pani hoga," Ratan Sharda ji. And now, do you believe that heads have begun to roll with the resignation now of Mr. Champat Rai himself?
See, to use the terms like heads have rolled because Champat Rai has resigned is trying to create some kind of narrative that was involved. As per SIT, 8 people have been arrested. They have been charge sheeted. Champat Rai has taken the moral high ground by resigning. So there is no doubt that he will interfere with the investigation. He has had a very simple and honest life all his life, and he has sacrificed everything for the nation. There have been oversight probably from his side that he could not keep track of these people. But to believe that, he resigned because he's involved in it, I think that would be overstatement. Let us wait for complete investigation. Even VHP has clearly asked for very fast investigation, and Champat Rai is part of Vishnu Parishad. So this is a moral, ethical ground which he has taken, and I think more people might do the same. So that would send a standard about owning the responsibility and accountability.
No, that is exactly what should have happened, sir, because of late, when the investigation that has been taking place and the questions that have been raised as to if this is the small fish who have been now taken as the accused and the entire blame that has been put on them are the big ones being shielded, of course, it would raise a lot of questions there. But if that position is now taken by Mr. Champat Rai, then, of course, we will wait till the time that the final investigation in this case is over. But thank you very much, Ratan Sharda ji, for your point of view. Let's, in the meantime, put across what the UP Chief Minister has said, because he's not minced any words. He's come out to say that the guilty won't be spared and strictest possible action in this case would be taken, because no one will be allowed to play with Astha.
सरकार की जो मंशा है, सरकार ने पहले दिन कहा कि दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी सबके सामने आएगा, लेकिन मैं फिर से अपील करूंगा, राम भक्तों की अग्नि परीक्षा मत लो। और दूसरा पक्ष वह है जो जय श्री राम पर लाठी और गोली चलाते थे, यानी भगवान राम का नाम लेने पर जो लोग गोली चलाते थे, आज वे कहते हैं कि आस्था के साथ खिलवाड़ हुआ। अरे आस्था, तुम बताओगे हमें आस्था?
Adib, let's talk about the role that these two individuals have been playing as far as Dr. Desai and Champat Rai, of course, holding the topmost position of the trust itself of Ram Lalla and Ram Janmabhoomi Teerth Kshetra Trust, the role that they have been playing, and was it an oversight, or what is, when it comes to the embezzlement that was taking place, if that actually happened right under their noses, how did they miss? Because this is something which has now become a part of the investigation. 8 people who have been arrested had direct access to the donations.
I will certainly, Amita, see both these individuals, whether it be Champat Rai or Anil Mishra, they play a crucial role in the Ram Temple Trust. And when we say that there's an embezzlement that has taken place in the donations of the Ram Temple funds, especially with the Tinnu Yadav, who is the close aide of Champat Rai, it is being speculated that how Champat Rai wasn't aware about what his close associate is doing. And that's the reason, main reason now the SIT will try to focus on Champat Rai as as well, because many of the opposition leaders, including that of the VHP leaders, they were asking that Champat Rai should be investigated because it was all happening right under the nose of Champat Rai. Tinnu Yadav being the closest aide of Champat Rai, he was siphoning off the money from the Ram Temple Trust. All the donation that was coming in Ram Temple, it was being siphoned off by Tinnu Yadav and other 7 accused. But how Champat Rai and other senior members of the trust were not aware about the embezzlement that was taking place in the Ram Temple. But now when the Champat Rai and Anil Mishra, they both have tendered their resignation, as per the sources, they both have submitted their resignations. It is being speculated that the SIT probe will now further move in their direction. They will be questioned by the SIT, although they have been previously questioned by the SIT about what they have to say about the embezzlement that has taken place. But in the preliminary stage, the SIT believed that only these 8 individuals were involved in the embezzlement of the Ram Temple. But now it will be interesting to see how SIT is going to investigate this case further, because there were voices being raised that Champat Rai, because he was the chief of Ram Temple Trust, he should resign on moral grounds, and this is what he has done today. And now it will be very interesting to see how the investigation will probe from in a few hours from now. Ayodhya police will produce all these 8 accused to a remand magistrate. From there on, the Ayodhya police will try to get a police custody remand so that they can further question. Ayodhya police will also try to take these accused to different locations from where they have been hiding money. So Ayodhya police will focus on the money trail, where all this money was kept, how the money was siphoned off, how these individuals, they used to take money from the vans that was going to the bank. So all this will be a part of the probe being done by the Ayodhya police, and also the SIT will intensify their probe in the days to come, Amita.
Absolutely, because Dr. Anil Mishra, in this case, an appointed member of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi the trust that we are talking about, and also Champat Rai, these are the biggest positions that we are now looking at as far as if this embezzlement, if that has happened now, and to what extent, Pranesh? Because that is a question that remains in everybody's minds. When did it begin? How was it, the modus operandi? How was it carried out? How much of it has been taken out? Where it has been used? And of course, this will all lead to a financial or a money trail that is all part of the investigation.
You're absolutely right, Amita. These are all relevant questions. In fact, the FIR that has been lodged on the complaint of trust member Mr. Krishna Mohan goes into details about it, but it's rather strange that we don't have a copy of the FIR yet, because authorities are, unwilling, reluctant to share a copy of the FIR. We do have some off-record information that we are relaying to our viewers, but look, the fund...
Pranesh, I believe we just lost your audio. We'll just fix that line with you. But yes, as you've been mentioning, the fundamental question here remains exactly when it comes to the investigation that has been taking place, how fast-paced, and how do we get to the bottom of this? Because as the Chief Minister said, कि राम भक्त की आस्थाओं के साथ कोई भी खिलवाड़ जो होगा, उसे बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जाएगा. Because lots has gone into it. It's been over 5 centuries wait that has gone for the Ram Bhakts to actually see Ram Lalla return to his rightful place in Ayodhya. And to play with that very feeling, their sentiments with their astha is something that he has said that the foundation will not be allowed to be shaken up. But when it comes to the relevant lawyers who were part of, the Ram Janmabhoomi case, of course, Adib, we've been speaking to them as well. There are 2 factions, however, who have come to the fore. One faction says that have faith in the investigation process, let the opposition say, because that job is to politicize everything. But Adib, the other faction is that, this is an investigation that is being carried out by the state police. How much more faith that you can have with them? Because this is a state-run investigation. Why not have the intervention either of the CBI or a judicial intervention?
Well, Amita, Adib was not very far from where I was standing, and there was a problem, glitch in my camera. So
right.
While that is being fixed, I jumped into his frame, and he's been kind enough to accommodate me. Adib, please come here. I don't want to hijack your frame. The question on everyone's mind is about the scale of misappropriation. So I was telling Amita, while we don't have an amount, you've been speaking to senior police officials who are unwilling to go on record, but they have, sort of indicated about the kind of money that we are looking at, in excess of is it safe to say 200 crores?
Well, absolutely, Pranesh. See, the money we are talking about, it's a couple of 100 crores because during this period, every day, the Ram Temple used to receive around 6 to 7 lakh of donation in each single box. And now there was 100 of these boxes. And what these individuals were doing, they were taking down money from these boxes. And they had a very nice modus operandi, which were on this way they were operating. They used to stand in front of the installed CCTV camera so they can hide the position of the other member while he was taking down the money. So this is how they have been doing the siphoning of the money. Now the police will probe on for how long they have been doing this, and this is the part of the most crucial part of the next investigation.
So this was all coordinated and synchronized. Of these 8 people who had everything to deal with the handling of money, the storage, the transportation. Adib just told us how they would go about siphoning it off. One person would stand in front of the CCTV camera. All these details will come out. We are hoping for a detailed briefing, or at the very least a statement from the Ayodhya police later this evening once the 8 accused who've been arrested are produced before a magistrate, Amita. But there's something interesting that I want to highlight for our viewers. Now, if you see the sections applied by the Ayodhya police against all these people, there is something that catches your eye, and it is the section of Prevention of Corruption Act. Now, ordinarily, Prevention of Corruption Act is imposed, or slapped on individuals who are government servants. Now, of these 8 people, we don't know, and there are, and remember, apart from these 8 accused who've been arrested, there are many unidentified, unnamed people also in the FIR. So one wonders, why have the police invoked this, section, Prevention of Corruption Act? Maybe Adib can shed more light on it, because he's been speaking to police officials over the last few days. But, this is something curious, and it'll be interesting to find out the answer to this question, because are we now then looking at involvement of government officials, because that will just take the scale of this entire misappropriation to another level. And given the kind of politicking that we've seen already, Mr. Kejriwal is, camping in Ayodhya as we speak. We are being told that he has a briefing around 4 this evening. And you've seen the war of words between the BJP and the Samajwadi Party. In fact, Akhilesh Yadav has been leading the attack against Yogi Adityanath by saying high and mighty have been saved and only small fries have been arrested. So it'll be interesting to find out why the police have invoked this section of Prevention of Corruption Act.
Because this is something which, Adi would also know, Pranesh, because if these were at the most bottom level. All right, Rahul Ishwar is also connected with us. Rahul Ishwar, because when we talk about Astha, and the question that if it is pointed towards Ram Lalla, and of course, when it comes to embezzlement of the donations that is coming in from thousands and crores of Ram Bhaks, and they don't know where exactly it is landing up. I mean, in someone's pockets or in someone's bank accounts. This is something which should have been avoided at all cost. And now in this latest information, we are getting to know that Mr. Champat Rai himself has stepped down.
Absolutely, yes. See, this is an absolutely painful moment. Sri Ram Temple is a fight for centuries, and it has happened after that. And this should not have happened. This is not political. This is not, any other division. This is a spiritual, sadness for the devotees that happened. I had the great privilege to be there at the Prana Pradishta, so it was a momentous occasion of our life. And we all have contributed our own humble, contribution to Bhagavan Ram. And it should not have happened. And we get to know that even Prime Minister's office was involved. They wanted to take details, but these people were denying. I hope people like Modi ji and Yogi ji will take that moment under control and take strictest of action against all the possible perpetrators. And even Champat Rai's driver is said to have some sort of connection, and police is looking out for him, was the media reports. So anyway, it was an extremely painful moment. This is beyond politics. This is a need to clean up to Mandir, whether it is Ayodhya or Sabarimala. In Sabarimala also, our temple also, similar issues happened. So, I think this is a moment to clean up temples, bring more transparency, bring more clarity. And I hope every person, whether they are believer or not, will support a moment to bring more transparency and clarity to our temples.
All right. Rahul Ishwar, appreciate you joining us here on the broadcast. Well, Adi, when we speak of the investigative bid, because questions have been raised, as far as these 8 individuals are concerned, is this the lowest rung or the small fish who have now been, taken up in custody and they have been arrested. Who were actually giving them the directions? Who were the alleged mastermind? And then another question arises, if the people inside the very trust had certain suspicions that the money was being stolen, then who could be possibly involved at the highest levels?
Well, Amita, see, the REPO FIR which has been filed is based on the preliminary report which was submitted by the SIT. The SIT received some specific inputs when they were investigating the matter. They received those CCTVs and they spotted these 8 individuals frequently visiting the rooms where the money was kept. There were video evidence of these individuals siphoning off the money, and that's why in the preliminary report these individuals were named in the SIT and the FIR has been lodged. Now, when the SIT will further probe into this matter, it is most generally that these senior leadership of the trust, such as Champat Rai, will be investigated by the SIT. And once the SIT investigates, and if SIT founds that yes, there is something fishy going on with the senior leadership of the trust, then surely there will be action. And as Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath himself has reiterated this today, that no one will be spared. If found guilty, no one will be spared. So it is very likely that the senior leadership of the Ram Temple Trust will be investigated. The SIT is expected soon to reach Ayodhya. They can arrive in a couple of days to Ayodhya to restart their investigation. They have submitted their preliminary report.
Yes.
Now, in the second phase of the SIT investigation, the senior leadership of the trust will be questioned by the SIT as well as Ayodhya police.
All right, because this is all part on the investigative bit, but we also talk about the political aspect of it, because of course, the state of Uttar Pradesh soon will be facing elections, and as far as the issue of Ram Mandir is concerned, it is emotive. It is about the astha of millions of Hindu and Ram Bhakts as well. So let's talk about, mincing no words. Here is the UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath taking on the naysayers as well, that those who questioned the very existence of Lord Ram, those who, had lathis being also firing that had happened on the Ram Bhakts, on the sevaks here, are the ones today who are raising questions on embezzlement, are posing themselves to be as Ram Bhakts, where he has said that this is laughable. However, ensuring that there would be strictest possible action who would be taken against those who have indulged in such a corrupt activity. Let's listen in.
और दूसरा पक्ष वह है जो जय श्री राम पर लाठी और गोली चलाते थे, यानी भगवान राम का नाम लेने पर जो लोग गोली चलाते थे, आज वे कहते हैं कि आस्था के साथ खिलवाड़ हुआ। अरे आस्था, तुम बताओगे हमें आस्था?
Well, Pranesh, looking at the timing of this controversy that has now emerged, those who are actually spearheading it is coming from the opposition, and those who are actually raising questions of not being invited to the Pran Pratishtha, here is UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath who is taking on them, because the other side seems to be not very happy with the way that the investigation has been moving forward. Some are seeking judicial intervention, some are asking for a CBI probe.
Well, the politics is only going to get, more ugly by the minute. Mr. Kejriwal's presence in Ayodhya just tells you that how, opposition parties are looking at this. Also, let's not lose sight of the fact that Uttar Pradesh goes to polls in a few months from now. So the opposition thinks that they have a chance now to put the BJP on the mat, because this is something which the BJP keeps talking about, the astha of Ram Bhakts, of Sanatan. Now, while Yogi Adityanath was countering the opposition, he is right when he speaks about the Samajwadi Party and what the Samajwadi Party government has done in the past. Also about the Congress Party, he said that we don't need lectures on Sanatan or on Lord Ram from non-believers, so to say. So the Congress Party had been sort of maintaining a silence. This morning, leaders of the Congress Party came out and went on record to say that, look, this is misappropriation, not just of money, but also an insult of all the believers, of the faithful of Lord Ram, and the BJP must own up. So while the opposition is in a sense is gunning for Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, look at the kind of swift action that has happened. Ever since these allegations surfaced, the Chief Minister was swift in ordering an SIT. The trust demanded an SIT probe. An SIT team was constituted, and in 10 days flat, the preliminary report was submitted to the Uttar Pradesh government, based on which the police filed an FIR, also the complaint by a member of the trust, and now 8 people are under arrest. Now, does it stop at these 8 people? Who are the other people who are sort of masterminds or patrons? We don't know. That is a matter of investigation. So for anyone, including politicians, to jump the gun will be unfair, because this is a sensitive issue, Amita, for more reasons than one. Because like I've been saying, that this is not just about 100 crores, 200 crores, or whatever. Even if 1 rupee has been misappropriated, that money is out of sheer faith, devotion, sacrifice, and everything that you associate with devotees who come here and who waited for over 500 years to have a glimpse of Lord Ram. Now that this magnificent temple stands in Ayodhya, and with lakhs of people coming here, we know the kind of footfall and the kind of donation, the scale of donation really. Yeah. It is also an opportunity for the trust and for the powers that be to ensure that such a thing never happens, that even every rupee is accounted for.
And this is the kind of assurance that the people want, because they have waited literally for centuries there to actually see Ram Lalla back to his rightful birthplace in Ayodhya, where currently my colleagues Pranesh and Adeeb are reporting live from. Of course, this is a big development that has happened here. We'll be following up. And of course, when it comes to the accused in the case who have been arrested, they will be produced before the magistrate later in the day, keeping our viewers updated with all of the developments that are happening in this particular case. In the meantime, we head into a very short.